Hi, I'm Olivia Simonson. Ventura County recently voted against Measures A and B in the primary election. So what comes next? We'll take a look coming right up.
Hi, I'm David Compton. The Strauss Wind Energy Project in Lompoc, California is currently the first and only wind project presently permitted anywhere along the California coast. I'm going to take a look at how this project could keep 6 million metric tons of CO2 from entering our atmosphere.
Hi, I'm Myra Castro. California may rescue its last nuclear power plant and give PG&E millions of dollars to do it. All these stories and more coming up on this edition of PowerON.
Ventura County voted against Measures A and B following primary elections on June 7th. Results were close on Election Day, but following the counts of mail-in ballots, the No on Measures A and B campaign declared a clear victory. Both measures were defeated by approximately 52% to 47%, about 6 points for each measure. With a 15-point lead for Democratic voters in Ventura County, the No campaign overcame party lines and fierce competition by environmentalist groups, and what was an enormous victory for the local oil and gas industry. With these measures behind them, local oil and gas operators will continue to abide by the strictest environmental laws in the United States, while producing Ventura County's essential energy resources right here at home. Measures A and B prevented arbitrary oversight by local politicians, and while environmentalists continue to argue that this was a blow to safety, there are federal, state, and local laws governing nearly every single aspect of local oil and gas production. The industry has certainly not reached the end of the fight for its life, as local government and activist groups seek to find new ways to eliminate the production of these essential resources in Ventura County. We'll be right back after this brief commercial message.
Every year, the amount of oil being produced in California is going down, and that sounds like a good thing. But the reality is our appetite for oil is not going down, and the production of renewable energy sources can't pick up the slack fast enough. As a matter of fact, the U.S. Energy Information Administration predicts that in 2050, fossil fuels will continue to provide almost 80% of the nation's energy, while renewables will provide about 13%. So you might wonder, if California keeps reducing its oil production every year, but the demand still remains, then where is our state getting the oil to meet our needs? Well, it's not from other parts of our country. That's because California is an energy island, and there are no pipelines that can bring supply in from other states. This leaves only one way: this. And it's how 70% of California's oil gets here, with the majority coming from foreign countries thousands of miles away. However, this oil is not like the oil produced in California, which is the cleanest and most heavily regulated in all the world. No, this oil comes from countries with lax production standards and social immoralities to both their people and their planet. When we reduce oil production in California with a not-in-my-backyard mentality, but then make up the shortfall in demand by importing foreign oil, which is produced in manners no Californian would ever willingly condone, we're just playing an international environmental shell game. We need to remember we are all global citizens, and when we power locally, we're actually thinking globally.
The Biden administration has set a bold goal of deploying 30 gigawatts of offshore wind power in the United States by 2030. This is enough to power 10 million homes with clean energy and create 77,000 jobs. However, right now there's only one operational wind farm in California, and that is the Strauss Wind Energy Project, which is located in Santa Barbara County, approximately 3.5 miles southwest of the city of Lompoc, California. The first permitted version had 65 generators, and that was scaled back to 27 machines, with the capacity to produce 100 megawatts of electricity. Once fully operational, the project will produce enough electricity to power 45,000 homes. Over the next 30 years, that's going to keep 6 million metric tons of CO2 from entering our atmosphere. The project will also infuse $40 million into Santa Barbara's tax coffers. The next wind project along California coast is likely to be offshore, either in the ocean off Morro Bay or off the coast of Humboldt. Both zones have received federal and state approval and are being readied for bulk permitting.
California is taking steps towards possibly extending the life of the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant, the state's last nuclear facility. Recently, the energy trailer bill led by Governor Newsom's administration allocates a reserve fund of up to $75 million to prolong the operation of the aging power plant scheduled to close. Diablo Canyon has been preparing to shut down for more than 5 years. Diablo Canyon is the only remaining nuclear power plant in the state, but in 2 years, its 2,240 megawatts of production is scheduled to begin coming offline. Unit 1 is slated to shut down in November of 2024, and Unit 2 in August of 2025. This energy trailer bill seeks to address California's dependence on fossil fuels to achieve carbon neutrality by 2045. The legislation concerns are that during extreme weather events, renewable energy alone will not be enough to meet California's power needs. Their solution: keep Diablo Canyon open and pay to retrofit several aging fossil fuel facilities and backup generators.
Concerns over the end-of-life disposal of solar panels highlights gaps and opportunities for development in the environmental impact of the technology. Early adopters of solar panels are approaching the end of the panel's useful life, which usually ranges from 25 to 30 years. But the question looms: with an oncoming influx of decommissioned panels, how can panels be disposed of safely without potential harmful environmental effects of improper disposal and heavy metals? The issues here are twofold. First, recycling solar panels is a technologically and labor-intensive process. Material recovery only yields $2 to $4 of resources per panel, whereas it costs $20 to $30 to undergo the recycling process. Conversely, sending the panel to a landfill costs only $1 to $2. There's a possibility that government subsidies could bridge this financial gap. But there is a lack of consumer education on how, where, when, and why to properly recycle used panels. While panels were recharacterized from hazardous waste to universal waste, which eased the burden on consumers to bring panels to the right place, a large gap remains. Until a uniform end-of-life policy can be developed, the environmental efficacy of a solar panel's complete life cycle remains in question.
The California Energy Commission has announced that they will begin to certify an energy storage facility that's in development right now in Kern County, and that would help California continue to transition to a more renewable energy use. Hydrostar, the company behind the facility, would ultimately be able to store up to 500 megawatts of energy through a compressed air system. The facility, to be named the GEM Energy Storage Facility, will also connect up with Southern California Edison's power system, and that will power up to 400,000 homes in Southern California when needed. The total cost of the facility comes in at around $975 million and should be operational by 2026. And that'll bring 30 to 40 jobs to the town of Rosemont, California, as well as 700 temporary construction jobs.
The California Public Utilities Commission recently created a new proceeding that will focus on modifying electric rates to create more demand flexibility to increase grid reliability. The rulemaking, regulators will look into updating rate design principles and create guiding principles for demand flexibility, and work to streamline California's current patchwork of rates and demand response programs. This isn't California's first time has looked to demand-side resources to bolster grid reliability. In 2020, the state experienced rolling blackouts amid a record-breaking heat wave, and the following year, regulators approved other demand-side strategies. That included Pacific Gas and Electric, Southern California Edison, and San Diego Gas and Electric to roll out an emergency load reduction program to compensate customers for conserving energy when needed.
That's all for this edition of PowerON. If you're watching us on YouTube, don't forget to click that little red subscribe button. On behalf of myself, Myra Castro, and Dave Compton, and everyone else here at PowerON, thank you for watching.